Okay, so let me point out what I started discussion in the last class. Okay, let me point out what I started in the last class, and up to which what we completed actually, right? So we started with the idea relating to the title, which is called as the minerals and energy resources, uh, in which we discussed about what is minerals, right? We understood that a mineral, a homogeneous, naturally occurring substance with a definable internal structure. They are found in where? They are found in varied forms in nature. Rocks are a combination of minerals. We also talk about a particular mineral that formed from a certain combination of elements, depends upon the physical and the chemical condition under which the material forms. Then the fifth point, because of this different minerals, they do have a different color, hardness, crystal forms, and also luster and density, right? Then we talk about occurrence of metals. When we discussed about occurrence of metals, it means how the metals occurred. Minerals are usually found in ores. Minerals generally occurs in these forms, like you can say in igneous rocks. They occur at cracks, crevices, faults, or joints. Smaller occurrences are called veins, and larger occurrences are called lodes. We also talk about in sedimentary rocks. In sedimentary rocks, minerals occur as beds or layers. Another mode of information is when only mass of withered material containing ores, right? So even ores remain. So even some minerals occur as alluvial deposits, right? Some minerals occur as alluvial deposits in sands of valley floors and hill bases, right? So then also metals form. Ocean water and ocean beds also contain minerals. So then we move forward to the next one, that's called as a classification of minerals. Like you can talk about ferrous minerals, non-ferrous minerals, non-metallic minerals, rock minerals. So these are the different kinds of what or classification of minerals, right? When you talk about ferrous, non-metallic, and rock minerals. When you start discussing about ferrous minerals, we have a huge description like what the ferrous minerals are all about. Ferrous minerals account for about 3/4 of the total value of the production of metallic minerals. Try to understand. Ferrous minerals considered or counted for about 3/4 of the total value of the production of metallic minerals, right? They provide a strong base for the development of metallurgical industry, right? Two types of ferrous minerals are there. One is called as iron ore. The second one is called as a manganese, right? One is called as a ferrous minerals, iron ore, manganese. So when you talk about my ferrous, we know that they, you can say that why they are strong? Now, because they contain iron, right? So iron ore is the, you can talk about, iron ore is the basic mineral and the backbone of industrial development, right? So, and that comes under where? Now that comes under ferrous minerals, right? So that is why we consider that iron ore is the basic mineral and the backbone of industrial development. So in case of India, you find out India is rich in good quality iron ores, right? Second is called as a magnetite, is the finest iron ore with a very high content of iron up to 70%. Then the fourth one is called as a hematite ore. Hematite ore is the most important industrial iron ore in terms of the quantity used, right? But has a slightly lower iron content than magnetite. So magnetite is somehow called as 70%, whereas if you talk about hematite ore, it's a 50 to 60%. Right. Next is called as we are talking about iron ore and magnetite coming under ferrous. So if you talk about major iron ore belts in India, we can see that major iron ore belts. What are the major iron ore belts we discussed? We started discussion about Odisha and Jharkhand belt, where we found hematitous iron ore is mined in gold and Normandy, right? Second is called as a Durg, Bastar, Chandrapur belt that lies in Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. Iron ore from these mines is exported to Japan and South Korea by Visakhapatnam. So one is called as Odisha, Jharkhand. Second is called as Durg, Bastar, Chandrapur. Right. So Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra. So iron ore from these mines is exported to Japan and South Korea via Visakhapatnam. Even the third one is called as that is Bellary Chitradurga. Bellary Chitradurga, Chikmagalur. Right. Tumkur belt. Bellary, Chitradurga, Chikmagalur, Tumkur belt in Karnataka has high reserves in iron ore. The ore is transported as a slurry through a pipeline to a port near Mangalore. Right. Maharashtra, then the fourth one is called as Maharashtra. Goa belt includes the state of Goa and Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. So iron ore is exported through Marmagao port. So you would find out major iron ore belts in India. It's called as Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and also Maharashtra and Goa. Right, these are the places are called as major iron ore. So even we also discussed state-wise production of iron ore in the pie chart. Right. Next one. Next one is called as a manganese, right? We had a discussion on manganese. So when we started discussion about manganese, we talk about how manganese is mainly used in the manufacturing of steel and you can say that ferrous manganese alloy, right? Alloy wheel. Nearly 10 kilogram of manganese is required to manufacture and 1 ton of steel. Right. It is also used in manufacturing bleaching powder insects. So manganese is used for the purpose of what? Means bleaching powder, insecticides, and paints. Right. So Odisha is the highest producer of manganese ores in India. It considered as a 1/3 of the country's total population in 2000 or 2001, which will be changed after that. Even if you see that in your book, there is a state-wise production of manganese list which is provided, where Odisha is the first, second is the others, third is the Madhya Pradesh, fourth is the Karnataka. So like that you would find out. Then these are called as a ferrous, right? In ferrous, what are the things we find out? We find out about manganese. We talk about major iron ore belts. Talking about iron ore and manganese as the two types of ferrous minerals, right? Then we discuss about non-ferrous, right? So if you talk about non-ferrous minerals, what non-ferrous minerals are there? Now, what are non-ferrous minerals in your book, right? So a non-ferrous minerals is any mineral that does not contain iron in appreciable amounts, right? Let me do one thing. Wait a minute. Can you see my screen? Hello? Hello,
Yes, sir.
you can see my screen?
No, sir, you stop the.
Sneha, can you see my screen?
No, sir.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We discuss about, or we start discuss about non-ferrous minerals. So if you talk about that non-ferrous minerals, what are non-ferrous minerals? Non-ferrous minerals is any mineral that does not contain, right, iron in appreciable amounts, right? A non-ferrous minerals is what? Now, any mineral that does not contain iron in appreciable amounts, right? So which have also less amount of iron, right? Generally more expensive than ferrous metals. If you talk about non-ferrous, so we find out that means non-ferrous minerals are uh, more expensive than ferrous metals. Non-ferrous metals are used because of desirable properties, right? So desirable properties means properties which are necessary, such as low weight, right? So example, aluminum, right? Higher conductivity, example, copper, non-magnetic property of or resistance to corrosion, that's called as a zinc. So you can point out non-ferrous metals such as aluminum, copper, zinc, right? So even some non-ferrous materials also used in the iron and steel industries. For example, bauxite, that is used as flux for blast furnaces, while others such as wolframite, uh, or you can say that pyrolusite and chromite, these are used in making what? Now, ferrous alloys, right? So in that case, you can talk about non-ferrous minerals are actually means highly expensive, and they are used for in a different means object, right? And which have a means uh, less iron in appreciable amounts. So that is what. Next is called as a copper ore, right? So when you are talking about copper ore, what is that? Now, India is critically deficient. Deficient means what? Not having sufficient, right? Or lack in the reserve and production of a copper, being malleable, right? Ductile and a good conductor. So copper is what? Now you can talk about uh, malleable in nature, ductile, and a good conductor, right? Uh, Copper is mainly used in electrical cables, right? So electronics and chemical industries. So you can talk about the Balaghat mines at Madhya Pradesh, Khetri mines in Rajasthan, and Singhbhum districts of Jharkhand. They're leading producers of what? Copper, right? So that is why we consider means it is nothing but means critical in case, right? So you can simply take some ideas that copper is considered as a means non-ferrous material mineral, and which is available in a Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, Singhbhum district of Jharkhand, and they are malleable, ductile, and a good conductor. Now, similar to that, if you talk about bauxite ore, though you will find out several ores contain aluminum. Several ores contain aluminum. It is from bauxite, a clay-like substance, right? So what is that bauxite actually? If you look into that, there are several ores contain aluminum, and from bauxite you can see that it is a clay-like substance that alumina and later aluminum is obtained from that clay, right? Bauxite deposits are formed by the you can say decomposition, right, of a wide variety of rocks rich in aluminum silicates. So how bauxite ore is formed or bauxite deposits are formed? Now you can say decomposition of a variety of rocks rich in aluminum silicates. So that is why. So even you can point out that bauxite is the first one, and then after from there only you will find out the aluminum, right? Aluminum is obtained. Okay, so India's bauxite deposits are mainly found in the where? Amarkantha Plateau, right? So Amarkantha Plateau, Maikal Hills and the Plateau region of Bilaspur, Katni. So these are the places where bauxite deposits are mainly found. Odisha was the largest bauxite producing state in India with 34.97% of the country's total production in the year of 2009 and 10, right? So it may be changed, or it obviously it will be changed in the present situation. So Panchapatimali deposits in Koraput district are the most important bauxite deposits in the state. If you look into this, you would find out this is something called as a non-ferrous minerals, right? Even you will also find out some of the non-metallic minerals, right? So non-metallic minerals means you can talk about mica. Mica is a mineral made up of a series of plates or leaps, right? Plates or leaps. Minerals made up of a series of plates or leaps. It splits so easily into thin sheets. These sheets can be so thin that a thousand can be layered into a mica sheet of a few centimeters high. Right? Mica can be clear, uh, black, green, red, yellow, or brown due to its excellent dielectric strength. Right? So if you talk about that one or called as a bi, then after dielectric strength, low power loss factor, right? Low power loss factor, insulating properties, and stopping to high voltage resistance. So having that resistance to do what? Now high voltage. Hmm. Mhm. So mica can be clear, black, green, red, yellow, or brown. And due to, you can say, as I pointed, dielectric strength, low power loss factor, insulating properties, and resistance to stop, right? Stop to high voltage. Mica is one of the, mica is one of the most necessary minerals used in electric and electronic industries. And as far as if you talk about that, mica deposits are found in where? Now, the northern edge of the Chotanagpur Plateau, right, is a place. Kodarma Gaya Hazaribagh belt of Jharkhand is the leading producer. So even in Rajasthan, the major mica producing area is around Ajmer. Nellore mica belt of Andhra Pradesh is also an important producer in the country. So in short, if I say mica is what? Now it is a mineral made up of it is a mineral means non-metallic mineral made up of a series of plates or leaves, and it splits so easily into thin sheets. These sheets can be so thin that a thousand can be layered into a mica sheet of few centimeters, right? Now, beside non-metallic material mica, we have also rock minerals, right? So, just a minute. So, rock minerals. When you're talking about rock minerals, you would find out limestone is found in association with rocks composed of calcium carbonates. Limestone is found in where? Now, association with the rocks composed of calcium carbonates or calcium and magnesium carbonates. It is found in where? Sedimentary rocks, like we have igneous rock, right? So these rock minerals found in a sedimentary rocks are most geological formations. Limestone is the basic raw material for the cement industry, basic, which is necessary. Uh, and essential for what? Smelting iron ore in the blast furnace, right? It is helpful for what? Smelting iron ore in the blast furnace. So if you look into the state-wise limestone production, you would find out the Karnataka that carries 13%, Andhra Pradesh carries 20%, right? Where the other state, right, they carry 50%, right? So please do remember that what are the things we have discussed so far. We discussed about, uh, you can say that, that what is minerals, occurrence of minerals, metals, and classification of minerals. Then after we discuss about ferrous minerals. So then after we discussed about uh, under the ferrous minerals, you will find out iron ore. Then after the places where these major iron ore are present. Then after we discuss about manganese, then we discuss about when state-wise its production rate, then non-ferrous minerals, right? What is that non-ferrous minerals? What are the things coming under non-ferrous minerals like copper, right? What do you mean by non-ferrous? So which have uh, less amount of iron, right? So copper, then after we discussed about the bauxite. Now, then we discussed about non-metallic minerals, right? In non-metallic minerals, we discussed about rock and the state-wise production. If you look into the conservation of minerals, right? So the total volume of workable mineral, the total volume of workable mineral deposits is only 1% of the Earth's crust. So when you are talking about Earth's crust, is called as we are talking about the breaking part of the Earth, right, or the upper part of the Earth, or when the means soil when the upper part is uh, removed, right? The total volume of workable mineral deposits is only 1% of the Earth's crust, right? So the second one is called as the geological process. The geological process of mineral replenishment are infinitely small in comparison to the present rate of consumption. The geological process of mineral replenishment are infinitely small in comparison to the present rates of consumption. So if you look into the uh, what uh, consumption and recovering, you would find out recovering is less, right? So very less in compared to the consumption. Third one is called as a mineral resources are therefore non-renewable. Mineral resources are therefore considered as what? Non-renewable. You cannot renew them, right? Continued extraction of ores lead to increasing cost as mineral extraction comes from greater depths along with a decrease in quality, right? So once you continuously collecting the things from the nature, right? What happened? You are so you are using it, right? So that continuously using it, the quality will be decreased and the amount will be available less, right? So that is one of the things because they are non-renewable. Next, fifth is called as a concerted effort has to be made in order to use our mineral resources in a planned and sustainable manner. So we need to think a particular way through which we can use these mineral resources in a proper proper planning and also keep it for a future generation. Improved technology need to be constantly evolved to allow use of low grade ores at low cost. So we need to also develop the technologies that requires constantly what? constantly change to allow use of low-grade ores, right, at low cost range. Next, you can talk about recycling of metals. Using scrap metals and other substitutes are steps in conserving our mineral resources for the future. When you are recycling of metal, thinking about recycling of metals, using scrap metals and other substitutes, which are nothing but steps in conserving our mineral resources for the future, right? Now, look into it. Um, the the next one you can find out, which is called as energy resources. So when you go for the energy resources, what do you find out? In energy resources, we can find out two types of sources, energy resources you can find out. One is called as conventional sources and the other one is non-conventional sources. So what are the conventional sources? Now you can say firewood, coal, petroleum, cattle, dung cake, electricity, natural gas. These are called as a conventional, right? Conventional sources means what? That called as a common source, right? So everybody can easily find out that, or everybody can use it. Firewood, coal, petroleum, cattle, dung cake, electricity, natural gas. These are called as a conventional source. But non-conventional sources are called as a solar wind, right? Solar, wind, tidal, right? Geothermal, biogas, and atomic energy. These are called as a non-conventional sources, right? So conventional sources energy, if you look into that, uh, coal, petroleum, natural gas, and electricity, which have been called as a conventional source. So let's discuss all those: coal, petroleum, natural gas, electricity. When we say coal, in India, coal is the most abundantly available fossil fuels. So what do you mean by abundant? Abundant, it means called as a excessive amount of fossil fuels are available. And these coals are divided into, these coal can be divided into three types of coal. What are they? Now one is called as a lignite, right? Lignite means called as a low-grade brown coal, low-grade brown coal, which is soft with a high moisture content and specially found in where? Nebali in Tamil Nadu, and that used to generate electricity. Which one? Lignite. Then the second one is called as a bituminous, right? Most popularly used coal, right? So used in smelting irons. Which one? Now that's something called as a bituminous. So bituminous is called as a specifically most people use that. Most companies also use it. Most popularly used coals used in smelting iron in irons in blast furnaces. Then the third one is called as a anthracite, high quality hard coal, right? So you find out one is called as in Tamil Nadu, Neyveli, which is a low-grade brown, lignite. Bituminous means most popularly used coal. Third is called as anthracite, high-quality hard coal. So even metallurgical coal found at Damodar Valley, West Bengal, Jharkhand, right? Important coal fields, right? You can find out Jharia, Raniganj, Bokaro, right? Metallurgical coal, where do we find out? Damodar Valley, right? West Bengal, Jharkhand. Important coal fields, you can find out Jharia, Raniganj, Bokaro. Godavari, Mahanadi, Sun, and Vardha valleys also contain coal deposits. Means these are the places where coal can be found. Tertiary coals, northeastern states. Tertiary, right? So this is something called as a history, right? History of coal. Um, Availability, quality, usage, right? Low grade, high grade, right? Which of the major uh, areas, right? These are the things. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Sneha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You are listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. I need to. Okay. Now, after coal, we move to the petroleum. So we find normally petroleum found in the rocks of tertiary age. Mm, you can find out 63% of petroleum comes from Mumbai High, right? 18% from Gujarat Ankleshwar oil field, 16% from Assam Digboy, Nahar Katia and Morom Hugrijan oil fields, and Digboy, Assam, which is considering as the oldest oil field in India. Then the sixth one is called as a petroleum refineries that act as a nodal industry, right? Petroleum refinery act as a nodal industry for synthetic textile, fertilizers, and numerous chemical industry, right? So you can, if you want, you can take a screenshot of this also, petroleum, right? Um, or at the end of it, I'll try to give it to you. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, next is, so after coal and petroleum, we have the next one that's called as a natural gas. So environment friendly due to, you can say, low carbon dioxide emissions, right? So natural gas, which is called as environment friendly. Why? Now, due to low carbon dioxide emissions or airs. So this natural gas is used as a CNG. CNG is called as a compressed natural gas in vehicles that found in, you can say that Krishna Godavari Basin, right? Gulf of Cambay, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and Mumbai High. So basically, how it is means given, it is transported through pipelines. Hajira Bijaipur, right, Jagdishpur, that is the longest 1700-kilometer pipeline that transports natural gas from Hajira in Gujarat to Jagdishpur in UP, right? So that is what called as a natural gas. Next is called as electricity. If I look into the electricity per capita consumption in, it's considered as an index of development. Electricity per capita consumption is considered as an index of development. You can talk about hydroelectricity, you can talk about thermal electricity. So what is that hydroelectricity? Now, by the force of water, right? Uh, means the electricity has been consumed or can be transferred. Bakra, Nangal, Damodar Valley projects generate hydroelectricity. So these are the examples. Thermal electricity by coal, petroleum, or natural gas. Coal, petroleum, or natural gas. There are over 310 thermal power plants in India, right? So means we draw the electricity. So we discussed about what? Now, all these are called as a conventional sources of energy. Now look into the non-conventional sources of energy. Once you go for the non-conventional sources of energy, we find out nuclear or atomic energy, right? So which is obtained by altering or changing the structure of atoms, right? Second is called as electric power is produced from the energy released through this process. Through this process means changing the atoms. Third is called as uranium and thorium, which are available in Jharkhand, Rajasthan, and Kerala. They're used for generating nuclear power. They are generating what? They are used for generating nuclear power. So these are called as a nuclear for atomic energy. It's a very simple, right? Uh, Changing the atoms, you can find out the nuclear atomic energy. And this electric power is produced from the energy released through this power or structure or process. We also find out uranium and thorium means which are available in Jharkhand, Rajasthan, and Kerala. They are used for generating nuclear power, right? Next stage called as after nuclear or atomic energy, we also have another one that's called as a solar energy, right? Solar energy is something which you can say that photovoltaic technology. Photovoltaic technology that converts the sunlight into electrical energy. Photovoltaic, I mean, so which we find out on the top of the house, right, or called as a rooftops. So where means this photovoltaic technology found, right, that converts sunlight into electrical energy. Largest solar plants of India is located at where? Now Madhapur near Bhuj in Gujarat, right? Solar energy. Then the third one is called as a wind power. So largest wind farm cluster is located in Tamil Nadu from Nagercoil to Madurai, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Gujarat, Kerala, Lakshadweep, and Maharashtra. They also have important wind farms. Nagercoil and Jaisalmer are well known for effective use of wind energy. So, if you talk about that, these are the non-conventional sources of energy: nuclear or atomic energy, solar energy, wind power. Even we have also biogas, tidal energy, geothermal energy. So the biogas is somehow called as just shrubs, farm waste, animal and human waste. They are used to produce. They are used to produce what biogas for domestic consumption in rural areas. Second is called as a decomposition of organic matter that also produce gas, which has a high thermal efficiency. Right. Please do remember that biogas also we can put uh, next to our courtyard or backyard, right? So then the second one is called as a tidal energy. Tidal energy means which is referring to floodgate dams which are built across inlets to huge ocean tides to generate electricity. Second is called as a 900 megawatt tidal energy power plant. It's set up at Gulf of Kutch by the National Hydropower Corporation. So then the next one is called as a geothermal energy. The heat and electricity produced by using the heat from the interior is called geothermal energy. So what is geothermal energy? Now the heat and electricity produced by using the heat from the interior, it's called geothermal energy, right? Uh, Next is called as the steam rising from the Earth's surface due to the heating inside Earth is used to generate electricity. Then the under the geothermal also we can find out one such project is located in the Parvati Valley near Manikarn in Himachal Pradesh, and the other is located where? Now in the Puja Valley, Ladakh, right? Next, you would find out that conservation of energy resources, right? So we talk about what conventional sources, non-conventional sources, right? So this one is called as and those conventional and non-conventional sources referring to what energy sources, right? So we supposed to know that means we are utilizing it and where they are locating it, how difficult and how easy, how abundant and how means scanty they available around us. So what are priorities called as we need to know that those are called as a non-renewable, right, which cannot be renewed, right? It means their qualities are also getting degraded and they are also available very less, right? So when you are talking about conservation of energy resources, and energy is the basic requirement for economic development, is not it? Energy is the necessity. So energy is needed in every sector of the national economy. Presently, you can point out consumption of energy in all forms has been steadily rising all over the country, right? So consumption of energy in all forms has been steadily, slowly rising all over the country. And due to this, there is an urgent need to develop what? Now, a sustainable path, right? Sustainable path means it should not be used in a hay manner. It should be used in such a manner which will be called as a, helpful for us in future also. So you can say there is an urgent need to develop a sustainable path of energy development. Promotion of energy conservation and increased use of renewable energy resources are two ways of sustainable energy, right? So what do you find out? We talk about the develop a sustainable path of energy development. So promotion of energy conservation and how to means you should aware people that how to conserve energy. Second is called as we also increase the use of renewable energy resources or sources. So these are called as two ways through which we can make the energy sustain. We have to adopt a careful approach for the judicious use of our limited energy resources, right? So this is what it is stated. Okay. This is something called as a conservation of energy resources. Hmm. So what are the things you have read so far? Uh, we talk about minerals, right? Then after we talk about occurrence of minerals. This is the mineral occurrence of metals, right? And classification of minerals like ferrous, non-ferrous, non-metallic, and rock. Ferrous minerals are iron and manganese. And iron, we also discussed about iron, and also we discussed state-wise. What state-wise production of iron ore, and we discuss about the manganese. Then after we also discuss state-wise production of manganese. Then after these are called as a ferrous minerals. Then after we discussed for the non-ferrous minerals, where we started discussion about copper, bauxite, and their availability um, under the non-ferrous minerals. Then we go for the non-metallic minerals. So when we talk about non-metallic minerals, we talk about mica, we talk about limestone, which is called as a rock minerals. Then we need to, we understood about the how to conserve, because we talk about the uses of it. We need to know the conservation of minerals, right? Then we will move to the next chapter that's called as energy resources, or next topic of energy resources, and they are called as a conventional and non-conventional. And we discussed about conventional resources like firewood. We know that coal, petroleum, natural gas, and electricity. We discussed coal, petroleum, natural gas, electricity, and these are called as a conventional and non-conventional resources, where we discuss about nuclear of atomic energy, solar energy, wind power, biogas, tidal energy, geothermal, right? These are coming under all energy resources, and that too also, what do we say that? Non-conventional energy resources. So these are the products which are, or these are the things we are using, right? But we are using in a excessive manner or less manner. Can we keep it for the future or not, and our consumption will not means do any kind of beneficial for future or not. So based on that, we need to understand about the conservation of energy resources, which we have read. Okay, so I have just noted all these things which will help you for means overally understanding the main points. Sneha,
Yes, sir.
you went through all?
Sir?
Did you go through all?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
So shall I send you this one?
Yeah, sir.
Okay, I'm sending you. I'm trying to send actually. I don't know what happened. Okay, give me a moment. Just prepare on this topic. I'm going to send you some questions. Okay.
So right now?
Why? You have some class?
No, sir. Just asking because my phone charge is like 10%.
Okay, take a break. Right. Take a break of 5 minutes. Right. So, and then after prepare yourself for 10 minutes. Or just prepare today. I'll give it to you sometime after. What do you say?